You came down from the mountain where the crystal waters flow. No reason to consider company might show, but destiny would find you where you walked across the sand to leave a world divided. Did Roger film a Bigfoot or man? Where are you now, Patty?
Well, welcome, folks. It's that time once again for the Friday evening Bigfoot Radio. And now for the Bigfoot research teams from across the country. Welcome, everyone. How is everyone doing tonight?
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bigfoot Radio live on X and on our regular broadcast network. To those people out there that are interested in calling into the show tonight, and if you have a story that you would like to tell us or any encounter that you've ever had with any of these hairy-looking type creatures, you can give us a call at 667-770-1476. Again, 667-770-1476. And the participant code is 759314 plus the pound sign. Again, 759314 plus the pound sign. Welcome, Chris. How's it going? And we need to hear some good stories about your orbs and stuff out there too. Man, you sent the video and oh my God, I'm sitting there watching these things flying all over the place. Wow.
Yes, good evening, Steve. Anthony, are you on?
Barely.
Hey, hey, Anthony. Hey, is the Snake Man made it?
I just sent him a letter. I'm trying to get to it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's all good here in New England. It's finally getting warmer. We're going to hit like 60 degrees tomorrow, and spring is coming. Thank God. Winter is behind us. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
And yeah, that video I sent you, I meant to send it to everybody. It was just the orbs, and I know Snake Man is into the paranormal side of investigation.
Right.
And I thought that he would find, there's so many I can send you. I don't know if you want to put some on mine and so on, and on your website. You're all welcome to do it. I do it, and but then again, when I put it on my website, or YouTube, excuse me, it always comes to, you know, what do you think they are? And, you know, and if you give your opinion about it, people seem to, you know, not believe, you know. And when I sent you those orbs that were in my room, they come daily. It doesn't matter if I'm there or if I'm driving the school bus. They appear. And I'm very fortunate and blessed by that. I don't ask for this to happen, but they do come. And trying to understand why, I had to go through mediums and ask their opinions about it. And they even came over with me to see. And you know, you don't want to get in. I hate getting into politics, and I hate to get into religious things, but these are spirits. And you can speak with Native Americans and so on. They all know that. And these are spirits that come and visit you. And I don't know what family members or just wanderers or individuals that are just passing by, but it seems that you know, they like to come and visit me. Can I communicate with them? No. I can't hear anything. Mediums can. The mediums that I had come over to my house, they were able to talk, and some people were down the street. They would come more when the mediums would come in my house to speak with them so they could talk to their loved ones.
Uh-huh.
And that was the craziest part, wanting the medium to contact their family members. And it got really overwhelming with some of the mediums. They were just telling me, stop, don't call, don't bother me more. I'm not here for that. I can't do what you want.
Uh-huh.
But those orbs are spirits. Those are, you don't have to believe it.
Well, I told you a long time ago they were spiritual beings. They're electromagnetic spiritual living beings is what they are.
Yep. Yeah. I know, but a lot of people can't understand that. You gotta, not everybody can fit you and I do and Anthony and so on.
Yeah, a lot of people can't wrap their heads around it.
It's hard for them to accept it, and a lot of people just believe when you die, and that's fine. I'm just, when I put out those things that people to see, I'm sharing with them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, yeah.
Yeah, so, and I'm not trying to be a smart ass or anything like that, but it's just something that I don't know. But I'm just curious to know, do you think that there is a connection to Bigfoot concerning these orbs? Sometimes or all the time, or part of the
Anthony, you hit it right on the head. They're vessels. Yes. Now listen, when I was up at the cabin, oh my God. One time I'm crawling. I had this little bridge that went over the brook just to get to the other side, and the small little 10-foot little bridge with an arc. And I'm walking over it, and it's just about it's dusk, but all of a sudden this sphere, as big as a huge beach ball, stops in front of me, and it was glowing with trillions of like gold specks in it. I couldn't see in it, but it was just pulsating next to me, and I just stood there smiling at it because I got some other videos I'm going to have edited from the trail camera where I put out in the woods to try to catch a glimpse of Bigfoot, and all of a sudden I have on this one trail camera that was similar to the one that I'm crossing, and there's these 4 orbs, one big, one medium size, one smaller and smaller, all bouncing in front of my trail camera. And it's filming, and they're purposely in front of the trail camera. They're not flying by it or going up and down or up, sideways. They're intentionally staying in front of the trail camera, bouncing up on top, and then all of a sudden, they all go into one ball. They just devour into one huge sphere. And it's one of the biggest things I'm going to show you. I'll get it done. There's certain things I don't like to put out, but I'm going to start putting them out. But this sphere also has these specks in it. It's these little dots, and it was pulsating. And I myself believe that they can be vessels to travel in. People that I have talked to in the previous years, Anthony, said they believe there is a connection with Bigfoot and spears, and people say once they've seen Bigfoot, they've seen spears around within minutes, and they are spiritual. They're a vessel for anything, for a vessel for traveling or spiritual wise. It's the way they are, and I'm gonna send you. When I was with this medium, Jeannie, she's on my YouTube channel. We did a lot together, and going out in the wilderness because I did feel bringing a woman with me out in the wilderness made it a lot acceptable for Bigfoot and Sasquatch, the forest people to call them, to feel more comfortable around the presence instead of bringing another man. They felt more comfortable and not as intimidated and more open to communicate, which is true, at least with me. And I brought her with me, and we were out one night staying up late, and she captures this orb on her phone. And she's there, and she's blowing it up and blowing it up and blowing up the orb, getting it bigger and bigger. And inside the orb, I'm not kidding. I'm going to try to find it. I have the photo. Inside the orb is a picture of like a dog barking, like growling, screaming at us as it's passing by with a face of like a, I don't know if you watched, the only way I can describe it to you people, so I'm just putting it the way that what I've seen, and I'm going to send it to you, Anthony, and everybody on the show. A face of one of the orbs on the Fellowship of Rings, Lord of the Rings and all that. One of those guys with the faces that were real. It was that type of a face in this orb, and with a dog in it, like almost like a coyote or something, like barking at it as she took this photo. And I'm going, wow, this is something else. Because you could see the eye, and his face was distorted, like almost like deformed looking. But the dog that was with him, or the coyote or the animal spirit that was with him in this orb was barking. Like you could see, like almost like the teeth, and like growling as it went by us, you know. And all I can tell you, whatever the spiritual presence or living presence or the dimensions it uses, in this day of age that we're in now, and what it's done for tens of thousands of years before us, you know, they're there. And so, yes, to answer your question, I'm sorry if I went off on different directions about Bigfoot with orbs. Yes, I do believe there's connection. Yep.
Now,
Did you ever see an orb in the wood, Anthony? When you're out on the woods or anywhere? Orbs?
I haven't. I mean, I've seen like lights. I couldn't say they were orbs. Sometimes they were like so high in the sky they looked like stars. You know what I mean? They weren't close enough to me to yell and stuff like that. You know, but I know that if you remember Bill Bogdanovich, Lord rest his soul, you know, he had shared with me before he passed on that he had seen one up close when he was doing some, Bigfoot research. And he said that there was one that came so close to him that he was able to look inside of it. And one of the things that he finds mind-boggling was the sense of the dimension. And what I mean by that was that the orb, as it approached him, was like a physical ball. But when it got so close, he was able to see inside of it. It said it looked like it had like tentacles, in the circle, just, coming out, and he was able to look inside. And inside of it, he said, was the mind-boggling part was that he said that it had a view of something that looked a whole lot bigger than the space that it is that he's physically viewing. Because when you look inside the thing, it looked like, the best way I can describe it is, it's like, imagine if you put your head inside a car, and when you look inside the car, inside the car looks like it's as big as a football field, But when you stick your head out, you're like, oh, it's a car, But you stick your head in, it's like, oh, it's as big as a football field in here,
Yeah, I can understand that. Yep, yeah, absolutely. I can see how that something like that. Who knows the dimensions that we have? in this world, and how things are that we want to see that's transparent, but we need to see something bizarre happen to us to really understand that there's more things out there for us to learn and understand. And but not a lot of us get to do that, and it's only by ways of talking on the radio or on YouTube channels and stuff, just to, like your friend explain to you whatever, and now you're saying it to everybody, what is here, and I used to get ridiculed when I spoke my piece, and I still do, because a lot of people don't understand it, but there are people that have, and I'm glad your friend told you about that, because it is a paranormal side in this world. There is. And your friend passed away?
Yeah. I mean, he made a big name for himself in the Bigfoot community. He invented he was the one that you might have heard that he invented the game camera. It was called the I Gotcha game camera. And the I Gotcha game camera was the one that on the trip that didn't make noise. When I mean noise, I mean like electrical interference noise. And so, because like if you put an AM radio, on top of a game camera, and you check the game camera, you could definitely, hear the boom, to the AM radio. And so he feels that this is something that the creatures can listen to, which is why, so hard to catch them on a game camera. But when he had, shielded his camera, he had captured some of the best Bigfoot evidence out there. And I mean, to the point where, and I think I shared this with you on a previous show, but the thing is that he one day happened to have his computer and his backup hard drive with him, okay? And his car was broken into, and the only thing that was taken was the computer and the backup drive with his best Bigfoot evidence that, I don't know if he was going to reveal it to the world or whatever, but I would say that it was much better than the Patterson Gimlin film.
Could you do us a favor there, Anthony, and speak up a little bit, please?
Okay. I'm sorry, is this better?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Keep talking.
Yeah, so yeah, he had one of the film footage that he had, and forgive me if I'm repeating myself, but he had filmed a mother and child, and the child was kind of like being disobedient. The mother was like kept motioning and making sounds like the fowl, and the child wasn't listening, and then finally, he said that you could hear it was a big loud smack. The mother smacked the child, and then from that point on, the child always followed the mother. So that was one of the things he got on video. Yeah.
That's it's a shame that someone stole it. I mean, so the only thing that was taken when this car was broken into was the laptop or whatever, his computer and the hard drive.
Right. Now, not crazy about conspiracy theories, that I would, find that highly unusual, because he also had equipment there that was more valuable than the computer, and it wasn't touched. So somebody would definitely was looking for that specifically.
Oh yeah, I mean, Big Brother's listening, man. Everybody's listening, and if they had a hint to win that maybe your friend there had something that they didn't want to be revealed, or whatever, I wouldn't doubt it. Unfortunately, who knows? But
so he passed away when I was in the hospital, like a little over 6 years ago. So there was a time when I was in the hospital for like almost 4 months. The door in my house yesterday. That's when he passed away.
Oh, for just suddenly, or it was something that was going to happen. He knew that.
No, he was battling cancer. He was battling.
Oh, horrible. Yeah, everybody knows somebody that happens close by.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah.
You know, I was hoping to connect with him before things got worse, but evidently I got hospitalized and he passed on.
Mm. Well, anyways,
I can't remember. I'm sorry. I can't remember everything he shared with me, but I do remember being blown away by the description of it because because I was hoping that there was going to be an occasion where he was going to be able to show me, but that never happened.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sure he would have revealed everything and done something with you if that was the case. But the unfortunate circumstance of you passing away and having that is computer stolen is terrible. But talking about orbs, the lady that I went down to see in Virginia, near Tennessee and West Virginia, that far west part of Virginia, she went to Whitehall, Steve. I know you've been up in that area in New York.
Yeah, man, Snake Man were.
Yes, and she went up there because it's a long story prior to that, but I'm going to just say that when she went up there was and a friend of hers, she went up there to look for Bigfoot because she has Bigfoot on her property when she was here in Connecticut and also in Virginia. But she was in Connecticut at the time when this was happening, where she was having a routine visit by this female Bigfoot. And anyway, she ended up going with a friend up to Whitehall. And she was, for some reason, I don't know, for mind speak, whatever, she went to an area and started walking in the woods, and her friend wouldn't go with her. Her friend stayed in the car. But when she was going through the woods, she felt a presence of something that made her feel uncomfortable. And I'm just going to make this short because I got to remember everything about how she was telling me the story from like 4 or 5 years ago. And she felt really uncomfortable, and she started to go back to where the car was with her friend. Okay? And when she was going back, she felt like she was going in slow motion. And she saw her car. She must have been maybe 150 yards or whatever, 200 yards into the woods. And she sees her car. That's right. It was starting to get dark. And she didn't feel comfortable anymore being out in the woods there. So she started trying to get, and she couldn't. She was like trying to go faster and faster, but it didn't seem like it was happening. Her body was, and then as she was looking at her friend was like pointing at her, telling her to look and look and look, and she's going, why? And then all of a sudden she falls down and lands on the ground. Okay? And she gets up and she runs to her car. And her friend says, didn't you see what was happening to you? Didn't you see she was in an orb. Her whole body, and her friend is sitting in the car. This is what I was told. She was sitting in the car and couldn't believe what she was seeing as she was trying to like make her way out of the woods to get back to the car because it was getting dark. And she was out there looking for Bigfoot, and for some reason I gotta find the reason why she went to that particular Whitehall. But as she was trying to get back, all of a sudden the orb like opened up and she fell down onto the ground, and her friend was like in shock that she brought with her to do this trip with. And she was in the orb. Now she's about 5 foot tall, 5'1", and she sit inside, and she had no idea that she was in this orb. So, Anthony, like I was saying, about what you were saying, how things are big inside and so on, like it was like massive, like 2 football fields, whatever. Looking his head on these are the things that our mind, and you try to visualize this and think, is this really happening? Is this out here? Is this BS? Whatever. But this is a story that, and this woman, I've been to her home in Connecticut and seen on her property, and I videoed. And you can look at it on my YouTube channel, Chris Manola. This is Bigfoot, and that is the Bigfoot that I filmed on her property in Connecticut, besides the ones that I filmed in Virginia. But when she told me that her friend said, "Man, you were in an orb," I said, "Wow," but she had no idea. But all she knew that she couldn't move fast enough, no matter how much she walked and tried to get there. It seemed like it took forever. So what do you think about that?
Amazing stuff, man. Amazing. And you have an eyewitness, and you can never, ever convince that eyewitness that it never took place, however, at best,
Yeah.
So only half the people that listen to her will believe her.
Well, that's the thing. And that eyewitness, was looking at the screen, and she could see her friend in the car telling her, and she couldn't understand why. She's like turning around and trying to see if she thought something was chasing her. And that's why she ended up going faster, but she couldn't. She was running, and she said she felt like she was exhausted, not going anywhere. And then it just opened up, and she fell to the ground. And she had no clue that she was in an orb or a sphere.
Yeah,
So
if I may interrupt here, orbs come in different shapes and different sizes. Orbs come about the size of a VW. They even come into a size bigger than a bus. And the reason they come in different sizes is the bigger the orb is, that means the bigger there are a lot of spiritual beings in one orb.
Yeah, I can believe that.
And people, when they look up in the heavens or the skies, they see these orbs. They think it's a spacecraft or a UFO. It's neither one. It's an orb with a lot of spiritual beings inside of it, is all it is.
Yeah. I even believe myself is also these orbs are also spirits with animals.
Oh, yeah.
Animal spirits,
Native Americans have lores about it.
I've had many experiences. With the orbs doing investigations where people have seen like the nucleus of the orb that has like a face in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they tell tales of it making that wow, 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 wow sound. And you can feel the kinetic energy of it.
Yeah, because it's electromagnetic energy is what it is. You see, when a human being's alive, if you take your feet and you rub it on the floor, and this is a known fact, I've done it plenty of times as a kid, even do it at Walmart when I go to reach for a door and I get electrocuted. You rub your feet on the ground and a shock comes out of your finger and hits a metal object. It means your body has this little tiny bit of electromagnetic energy in it. So when our bodies pass away and our spiritual beings is left alive, that is the electromagnetic energy coming up out of our bodies and going into heaven, believe it or not. And a lot of people don't realize this, but heaven is actually in the clouds.
Right. That's why when I was talking to you guys a while back about when people go on Sasquatch investigations and they see orbs, why not bring an EMF detector with you so you can pick up the electromagnetic field?
It'll work.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you this: when I'm filming at night or whatever, and I'm out there and I see orbs around, my camera will get blurry, will get totally out of focus, because of the energy all around. And it does something, and then it will take a while, or I'll have to adjust something on my phone or whatever I'm doing, man, just to get it to come back in. Especially like you're saying, EMFs or whatever, electronic pulses or whatever, it screws up the picture and the video.
Yeah, it's an electromagnetic field.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, though, I mean, these people are onto something when they're talking about orbs connected with Sasquatch.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's what Anthony was saying.
I personally have not seen a lot of that. However, I will say that when my mentor was taking me out in the woods, like over 10 years ago, and he would see something, and he would look one way, look another way. He's like, okay, when I see this, that means they're close by. And I'm like saying to myself, what the hell is he talking about? What did he see? And then sure enough, right when I'm thinking that, or sometimes if I might vocalize that opinion, or that, what I'm thinking, then we'll have a sighting, or they'll be yelling or something or other, But there was one time, I mean, we had just got out of the vehicle, and I know I had, at that time, I had heard about infrasound, but let me tell you, man, to this day, I don't want to go back there. I don't want to go back to that hotspot that he had, because when I went there, my goodness, man, I could only when I came out of the truck, now mind you, I'm the passenger, he's the driver, both of us are walking to the back. I was hit with something. I never, ever in my life felt so nauseous. I felt so freaking nauseous. I thought my stomach was going to come out of my mouth. I mean, that's how nauseous I felt. I mean, I was like, oh, he said, what's going on? He's like, yes, man. I just told him, I said, I don't know. I think it's infrasound, and I'm saying that, and I couldn't even stand up. I'm holding on to the pickup in the back bed of the truck. I'm holding on to it to stand up because I couldn't, I couldn't stand up, and I'm just holding on to it because, I was feeling so sick and nauseous at that moment. And then he's like, oh man, he said, you're being hit. He said, they're here, they're right here. And then he started yelling, okay? And then when he started yelling, he got an immediate response. He back then he could make the calls real good. He started yelling, he got an immediate response. It sounded like, the barn owls and stuff like that. And then when they got started, and then the other one in the distance got started, and I'm like, oh my God. And then I felt like, I was released when he did that, So it, like, it stopped, and it took me a little bit to recover, but I'm like, oh my God. I mean, it wasn't like, I felt great. I felt great all day. It wasn't like I had a runny nose or anything like that. I felt great. It was a normal day. At that moment, I was like, oh my God. And after I recovered, I'm like, yeah, let's get up here. After we had our experiences, I was kind of in a rush to get out of it because I really felt sick, man. I really felt sick. And to this day, I haven't been back there.
There are a lot of people that say that happens to them. Exactly what you just said. That I've talked to and heard about, that they go out in the woods and they feel ill. I've never had that.
Oh, thank God, man. Thank God.
I have had them.
If it does happen, I hope you're not alone, because let me tell you,
I'm always alone. But what they have tried to do to me was put me to sleep. I'm walking and I'm in the woods. I mean, way out in the woods and wilderness, and I'm trying to stay awake. I'm fighting just to walk. Like all I want to do is like try to find a rock I could climb. I hate sleeping or falling asleep on the leaves on the grass because of ticks. I can't stand it because I've been bit so many times with ticks. But I remember this one time my body was just going down, and it was daylight. I mean, it was like 3 in the afternoon, and I'm going, okay, I'm having a hard time walking here. And I'm trying to find a rock or something that was clean that I could just lie down and sleep on, because I know they were trying to put me to sleep, but I was not going to fall asleep on the ground there with the leaves and stuff, because I can't stand. My mom had tick Lyme disease, and and I've been bit and I've had issues, I'll never forget that for some reason they were trying to put me to sleep, and I fought it.
Actually,
Actually,
there's a cure for what do they call it? That where the ticks bite you. I think it's called mountain fever, Rocky Mountain
Lyme disease.
Fever. Yeah, Lyme disease.
Oh yeah.
There's a cure for it, and it's a natural cure, and it's called thistle root.
Oh, you're talking about Rocky Mountain spotted fever.
Yeah, and there's a cure for it. It's called thistle. It's called thistle root.
I had no idea about that. All I know is that my mom suffered terribly with that, with pain and muscles and bones, and the diagnosis. They couldn't even find out what it was. I mean, 20 years ago, they couldn't find it. Even in 2000, they couldn't figure it out. They still, I don't think, can figure it out. But, there was a fear of mine, because I can't tell you how many times I pulled them off me. Being out in the mountains for 12 years in a cabin and being in Virginia, wherever, it just it's a fear. So
yeah, you know how to take a tick off of you real easy though, don't you? So they don't put that poison inside of you. You take a little tiny thing of bleach, and you put your arm over that bleach with a cap full of it. You flip it upside down, hold the lid on top of it. And what that does, it makes them pull out because they can't handle the heat of that bleach.
Oh, I know some people say you cover the tick with like some type of Vaseline or something so they can't breathe. They release.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that with nail polish too. I heard that.
Yeah, my mom, she was a big believer in using the nail polish to make them back out of you. Or the hot match routine, or the.
Yeah, I think one time I was in the cabin by myself, and I saw one on my back and didn't know it, and I broke the head off on my back, on my side, and I went and grabbed a needle, and I must have dug a canyon in my back trying to get that, because I couldn't reach, and I was using a small, like, little hand mirror, to my face, and the back was the regular size mirror, and I was just bleeding myself trying to get that tick head out, because I just didn't want to get Lyme disease, But anyways, yeah. So just going back to the point of me falling asleep and so on like that, or what happened to you feeling sick. Yeah, it is pretty kind of crazy that they have that capability of doing that to an individual.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's go ahead and take a radio break, and we'll be right back.
My name is Raymond Ray. For years, I've been an investigator with the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. Through my research, I've learned that many tribes and cultures around the world have stories and legends of interactions with a large, hairy, man-like beast. These creatures have gone by many names, such as Kulumehe, Stuka, Steyahama, and Sasquatch. In modern times, reports of encounters with these creatures continue to pour in from around the world. The Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization maintains the largest worldwide database of Bigfoot encounters. The moment a report comes into the website, a clock starts ticking. It starts counting down to the moment when the forces of Mother Nature remove all evidence of that encounter. I've assembled a team of researchers to immediately respond to these reports and investigate them before the evidence disappears. Our mission is to get to the locations, meet those witnesses, find that evidence, and still be caught. This is Mission Bigfoot.
So we're here in Big Bear today, right here, literally 10 feet away from the area that Robert spent 5 months living here during his logging contract. The area where he heard screams at night and whistles that seemed to be beckoning him out of his tent. So we came down here to just kind of do a survey around the entire area and see what we can find during the daytime as we get ready for our night investigation.
I think I saw Ron Bowles is on here. Ron Bowles, how's it going?
There's Ron Bowles.
What's up, Ron?
What's up, boss man?
Haven't met you in person. My name is Raymond Ray, but I have heard a lot about you from my buddy here, Matt Moneymaker.
It's almost like if you're in the downtown, in a human environment, and somebody just drops a giant pine tree, or even just something weird in the forest right in the middle of this concrete jungle, to us, that's going to stand out.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yes, sir. Now, how far away are we from where you found the track? I would say we're probably about a quarter mile south of where we found the track. All right, let's go check it out. Yes, sir. All right. This is also an area that has had frequent sightings in the past. They usually come about in 7-year cycles. Brings lots of water that create the greenery that you're seeing behind me, providing lots of food for smaller game and for deer, which we know are a food source for Sasquatch. Towards this way. Heard, I'm not entirely sure what that was.
And we're back.
Well, that was different.
That's one I've had for a while.
Yeah, I like that. I like it.
Wow.
I
never heard that.
I had Matt Moneymaker and that other fellow, which I'm friend with. He's up in Los Angeles County, and they've both been having some Bigfoot sightings up there as well. Maybe one of these days I'll have them back on the show again.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Have you guys ever heard of Jim Myers?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, he came and spent some time with me when I was in Colorado Bigfooting this past summer, and we had a great time together. I took him to the location that I was up in the mountains up there, and he owns a Bigfoot Sasquatch depot, which is everything you want and could imagine for Sasquatch lovers to get, from T-shirts to ashtrays to mugs, bird feeders with Bigfoot. You name it, he's got it. And we became friends over the summer there. And nice guy. I'll see if I can get him on the show one of these times.
Actually, I had a guest on the show a few years back. He owned a Bigfoot museum up in Northern California. Can't really remember his name, but Chris Contreras bought him online, and he was talking about how most of the people up in Marble Mountain area have seen these creatures basically almost on a daily basis.
Oh,
Michael something, I can't remember his last name.
Are you familiar with a gentleman who's a Bigfoot researcher by the name of Bill Coffey?
No.
I'm kind of friends with him, and I was trying to locate him so that I could try to get him on the show, but I think he would be another good one to have on the show. I've been trying to get hold of the she squatchers again.
Well, I can get a hold of them if you want. Have them come back on the show.
That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, it would.
I mean, I'm really fascinated with how they're doing this now, and it's an all-female team.
Yeah, they were friends with Ashley when I was doing the show with her as well.
Yeah.
I met them a few times. I like that one.
I have Jen on my Facebook.
Yeah, the She Squatchers are a female Bigfoot research team put together, and these women go out and they do a most excellent job I've ever seen in my life. Oh my God, these women really put their feet down and do the work.
I'm very impressed, I'm very impressed. It's not just for...
It's like her... I'm sorry for making it.
Yeah, it's okay. But go ahead, what you were saying?
Well, I was just saying, I was going to say that I was like real impressed with, I can't remember the one who grew up on a reservation, but I really, really enjoyed her sharing, like, what the elders had taught her growing up and stuff like that, which, she kind of explained how it made it easy. Well, again, it just made it easy for her to
still working on Turtle Man.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
I'd love to hear his stories on his encounters with Sasquatch.
Did he do a lot with Sasquatch? I know he did a lot with animals.
He did a lot with Sasquatch. A friend of mine and Steve's friend Ashley actually got to have him on their show. But a lot of the reason he doesn't do a lot of radio shows is because he's afraid of the ridicule.
Yeah, we don't ridicule people.
Right.
Well,
So what's everybody been up to
I
lately?
don't think it's us. I think it's the ridicule from elsewhere that he doesn't want to deal with, and I understand.
Right, like the people that do the shows, the TV shows. I think he's trying to get back onto regular TV again.
oh, I watched a lot of his shows on TV, man. But
Right.
he never said anything about Sasquatch that I remember.
Actually,
But
Oh, yeah,
I'm sure-
he had an encounter once with a Sasquatch, and he was talking about it and everything else on one of his TV shows. When I think it was on Discovery Channel or something like that, when they had what was it, Swamp People or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
I think it was Mountain Monsters.
and then I think it was I can't think of his first name. His last name was Landry. Landry on
Ernie.
no, Landry, not Ernie. You've been watching
No,
too
I'm
much.
saying his first name.
No, his
His
first
name.
no, it ain't Ernie. I just know his last name is Landry, but he was on Swamp People. He even talks about the booger in his area.
Huh. Well, that's good. I hope you get him on, Snake Man. That'd be great to hear him if he would do it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Jim Myers, he's been doing Bigfoot for a long time, and he asked me to go on his podcast in December, but I was so busy with work I couldn't make it happen. It was only one day a week he does his podcast, so I'll give him a ring and see if I'll go on his podcast if he'll come on our show.
Yeah, I've been trying to get.
He was with me, and he brought these really nice, smooth, shiny stones, and we had a gifting stump up there. And I told you when I left the nuts and the mix, trail mixes and things every day, and they would take stuff and not eat stuff. And he came up with the gifting stuff, and he left 4 polished stones. They're really nice polished stones that he bought. And the next day, they took them. They took one. Only one was gone, which made him real happy. Made us both real happy about that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get country singer Chris Allen back online, but I mean, he's got him and his new wife out there, and they're both doing good and excellent. They're sitting back making these little funny videos. I think I saw a video where he was asleep and she glued a woman's eyebrow right to his eye.
Yeah. I told him, I said, man. Yeah, I saw that one too, Steve. I was teasing him. I said, you're an all right guy, but you make an ugly woman. He's a prankster too. You got to watch out for him.
Yep.
So, what's everybody been up to?
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
What everybody's up to? We were talking about paranormal stuff and orbs and stuff, but you weren't on the show in the beginning.
Well, I'm sorry. I had things to do. I was on the phone with family. They were wishing me a happy birthday.
Oh,
it was yesterday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Happy getting old age.
Happy birthday.
Hey, you're older than me, Steve.
I may be older than you, but at least I get to turn around and call you Methuselah.
Methuselah.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Was that the woman that had snakes for hair?
Yeah, that's the Greek mythology.
Methuselah, believe it or not, was a person in the biblical days that lived a lot longer than Moses did. You're thinking about, what was her name?
She had the hair.
I said
Medusa is who you're thinking of.
that's Medusa, not Methuselah.
Okay, all right. I'm learning.
Methuselah is Noah's grandfather in the Bible. Okay. In the Bible, Methuselah is Noah's grandfather.
Okay. And I think we have a listener listening all the way from Canada, you guys. Her name is Crystal.
Hey, Crystal.
All right. Did she text anybody? Have you been getting any texts or anything, Giant, for us? Any questions? If people want to know something, or we're able to see anything on the website? Whether calling in or not calling in, but asking us anything? Or no?
There's a guy on X that asked, his name's Gerald, by the way. He's asking, are these creatures actually real, or are they something that people just see out of the back of their minds? I don't know what he meant by that, but whatever.
I think he was being sarcastic.
I mean, you got non-believers out there. That's nothing new. I can understand that part, but I've seen people say, well, I don't believe in this, I don't believe in that, and then like a few years later, something happens to them, they can't explain it. Like, what was it? Mary Catherine's husband. He kind of had a belief system of it, but he didn't believe it at all until I think she said, well, about a month ago back, he had an experience and then it changed his mind altogether.
Right. Well, what was his name? John? This guy?
Hi, Gerald.
John? Oh, Gerald. I meant on X that's asked that question. Gerald? Well, they said that about certain medications and medicines at one time too. They didn't believe that it was real. Look what happened now. We got all these different kinds of medications.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. You never know what's real and what's not real. Just because you don't believe in it? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm just laughing because I've had my fear of people telling me that I need to be on medication for the things that I tell people on the show and on my YouTube channel. I mean, they really are on the opposite end of the universe on how we think and what we're talking about. They have no belief or that anything like that or anything with cryptozoology or the Loch Ness Monster or the snowman or whatever things. Everything to them is black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. And we're not force feeding our comments to anybody.
No.
We're just telling you what we've learned and what people come on the show said. And if you want to believe it, great. And that's what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's opening up another door.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And we're not trying to tell you, hey, you got to believe what we do, and what we might believe in, and all that. You have a right to make up your own mind.
Yeah.
My suggestion is, if you don't believe in it, go out on an expedition with a credible Bigfoot research group, and go on the expedition, see it for yourself. And then tell us what you think.
Yep.
That's the best way I say to do it.
I think, the viewers that come and listen, I don't know what the percentage is. I don't know if it's, 50%, 30%, whatever, that they've had encounters or had something in I don't want to say infect their life or change their life, but had an encounter that come and want to know more. You know,
Right.
those people, I wish they would interact and come on, or you know, even what Gerald did. You know, just to get it off their chest and stuff. And if they have to do by, you know, sending a message, texting, that's awesome. You know. There's who has the TV on?
That would be my wife.
Oh.
All right, let her know we're coming. So she can take it nice pie.
Is that a sign for you that you got to go, Snake Man?
No. I was taking her dinner.
Oh, gotcha.
So, yeah, I spent a couple of hours making her a brisket dinner.
Ooh, nice.
So, yeah.
I can make a chicken so good. By the time it's done, you pick up the chicken by the bone and it'll drop right off the bone.
That's how this brisket is right now. It just falls off, you know, falls apart.
But I don't do that anymore now. I'm strictly vegetarian, so I just pick up the whatever and it doesn't fall off of nothing.
Wait a minute. Hold on here. Like a month ago, you showed me what you had for dinner, and it was like a chicken breast with broccoli and something else on the side. And you said, "This is fantastic." So when did you go vegetarian?
Actually, that wasn't a chicken. It looks like a chicken. It tastes like chicken, but it was actually a vegan chicken.
A vegan chicken?
Yep.
How do you make a vegan chicken?
Actually, they sell vegan chicken patties, everything now. They even got this incredible burger. You can go to, what is it, Burger King or something like that. It's called the Impossible Whopper. You buy one of these things, you put it in your mouth. Oh my God, your eyes roll to the back of your head. It tastes like it tastes like real meat, but it's not. It's made out of plant.
I know why they call it Impossible Burger, because it's impossible to get someone to eat it.
Whatever.
Really? Oh my God.
Yeah, it's impossible to get Snake Man to eat it.
Sorry, Steve, I had to say that.
That's all right. It's impossible to get you to eat anything anyhow.
I tell you what, my wife, for some reason, likes my cooking. And she's still alive. That's a good sign, right?
Yeah. Here's another big thing, too. You know, when Snake Man makes a sweet potato pie, he cheats.
Don't be giving up Grandma's recipe now.
He cheats.
Steve?
I use eggs. I use sugar. Well, I don't use sugar. I use something called allulose, but it's a better sweetener. Eggs, allulose, and canned milk and all that stuff. Oh, it comes out real good.
Is that?
Man, another good sign is that she hasn't retaliated.
That's true. I don't have to sleep with one eye open.
Yeah, no comment.
Is anybody else getting this real strong wind?
Why, do you smell something?
Mm-hmm. No, we have a very strong wind going on here. It's about 60 mile an hour wind.
We had a 60 or 70 mile an hour wind here a couple of days ago. The whole damn trailer kept rocking back and forth. I thought maybe there was a Bigfoot or something outside showing its presence, but it was just wind.
Mm-hmm.
No, nothing like that in Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're living next to a big old blowhard.
Oh, that's not right. That's not right. So what happened to, where's Mary Catherine hiding now?
I don't know. I sent her a message. Maybe she's asleep or took a nap. Who knows?
Well, Joyce, we haven't heard from Joyce in a while.
Joyce doesn't come on all that much. She's got family and all that stuff she got to deal with, but she's got her husband. I kept telling Joyce, you know, I'm 65 years old and I date these women out there. It's like in their 30s and 40s. She turns around and tells me, you know, you're robbing the cradle. And I look at her and I said, well, what do you think you're doing?
You better watch out. You don't underestimate the Southern women.
I don't underrate none of them. They don't know where I live. By the way, I want to make a mention out there in the radio world. I've been on TikTok. I might be able to do a live podcast using TikTok as well. I'm not sure yet. Right now, we're live on YouTube, we're live on X, and we're live on a regular broadcasting network.
Well, that's good. I just wish we could get some phone calls in here from, you know, listeners, just to, you know, I know it can be unsettling and you know,
where some
want to do it.
Right. When some people are afraid to call in to discuss their encounters, they'll sit back and think, well, I don't know if I should do this or not, and make myself look bad or crazy. It doesn't matter if you're crazy or it doesn't matter if you're normal. Just call the show and tell us your encounters. That's all you got to do.
Nobody wants to talk to us.
Why? We already know you're crazy. We already know you're crazy, Snake Man. We just leave you out of it.
And they don't have to give their real name.
No, they can come in under Santa Claus. Who cares?
That's right. And I believe in Santa.
Wait a minute. Santa's real? Oh, crap.
But I wanted to make a statement earlier. I've been doing TikTok, and I found out that the real Jessica Weaver, supermodel that lives in Los Angeles, the one I left a message on her page, and I did get a message from her on, I think it's called cameo.com, that all these other accounts of her are all fake. And if they ask you for money out there, either on Facebook or TikTok or any other app, it's not the real Jessica Weaver. They're what they call AI systems or something like that that people are using to scam men or scam women or whatever.
Huh. So, okay. So, what do they? How do they scam you? They, like you get introduced to them as these
actually, they talk to you on like Facebook or whatever. Now, I have a video of one. I'll send you guys one later after the show.
Okay.
One of them says, Stephen Coffrin, I am the real Jessica Weaver, such and such, so-and-so. This is my only page. And I'm sitting there looking at this thing, and I'm like, this ain't Jessica Weaver, man. This thing's an AI. You can only tell because her hand is positioned around her neck on one area, and the hand ain't even moving, and the background don't look right at all. And then when you put this AI system up to one of her other videos that's a match to it, this video, which is her real video, is talking about something totally different, where the people are using this AI to make her say stuff that's not even real.
You gotta watch out for that AI.
Yeah, I had one say, something, Stephen, I know you love me, baby, all this other stuff. Can you please just once give me $50 so I can get something to eat? And, you know, I'm sitting there laughing at this thing because Jessica Weaver is a millionaire. Why would a millionaire ask somebody for $50 to get something to eat? Come on, man. Something about that video just don't sound right.
Well, You answered my question. I was going to ask you, what did Jessica Weaver do for a living? I mean, she must make a lot of money. Was she
actually in not 19? Good grief! In 2013, she was working at a kind of like a burlesque type restaurant type thing where you serve gentlemen and all this other stuff. And
you mean a strip bar?
No, not a strip bar. This is where women approach gentlemen. They go out and dates and do this. I ain't going to get into this part. I want to keep clear of that. Anyhow, she fell in love with this guy who supposedly took advantage of her, and she got married to this guy in 2013. Within the time that she got married, she knew that this guy was an evil person, and she sat inside of the I think it was like a ladies' restroom. This is the vibe I'm getting as an indigo. I'm getting these signals where she sits in like a restroom or something like that, crying because she knew she made a mistake, and this guy was an abuser. So I guess somewhere along the line she divorced him. She's living in Los Angeles, raising her 3-year-old son, which is almost 4 years old now. And she does her own podcast. She does her own TikTok show telling people how to live a good life. Watch for the signs in relationships about how your man treats you or how your women treat you in relationships. Pretty much like what they call a sex therapist or something like that, I guess. But what it is, she's putting herself out there to people. I think it's more or less like a reflection of herself out on other people. And what she doesn't realize is she's reflecting herself from other people, making them think that they're going through the same thing she's going through, but in actuality, she's not. It's basically just a reflection of herself. But I do have a lot of respect for her. I really do.
Do we have anybody right now that wants to ask any questions?
I got one.
I'm sorry, we can't help you, Steve.
Well, my question wouldn't count, so I'm not going to bother asking you.
What's that? What's that, Anthony?
No, when he said we can't help you, I said good answer.
Hey, we're not miracle workers here, Steve.
That's a new one on me.
That's great. Okay. What was your question there, Snake? Ask any questions about what, Snake Man?
I was asking.
Are you not telling your wife? What are you doing? I'm talking.
What I was asking about. Do we have any questions from the listeners right now?
Okay, there's another one from a guy named Jordan. He asked, how many Sasquatches have you people seen? God, I wouldn't know how to answer. I've seen 9 so far.
I've seen a total of 3 so far.
So with me, I had a family of them living in my backyard. So I stopped counting after 10 encounters. I just stopped counting after 10 because they were just happening so frequently after that.
My turn?
I guess.
Yep, it's your turn.
My turn? Well,
yeah, spin the bottle.
Come on, Forrest, run!
Oh God, I'm with Anthony, man. I couldn't tell you. This summer they were coming every night, and I had 9 come and see me at one being up there. So it just, I have no idea. Honest to God, I've been that privileged and lucky. I'd be in my cabin and I'm washing the dishes in my sink. I look up through the window and there's one walking. I used to run outside and see, and time and time again, I'd run outside, whatever. I was going to the bathroom, looking out, there'd be another one walking there, and I just stopped running outside and just watched them, because they knew once I ran outside, for some reason, I'd lose sight of them. So, I can't tell you how privileged it was, just the summer alone. I'm not kidding you. 9 came at one time to check me out.
Right.
And, are you sure it wasn't? Hey, are you sure it wasn't Steve watching you do dishes?
That's a good point. Because something was coming into my house, like in the cabin, taking my toilet paper.
Oh. Blame Snake Man for that one.
And my garlic. So, yeah, to answer Jordan's question, I'm like with Anthony. You just don't count anymore. You just appreciate what you get.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've only seen it once or twice or 3 times or whatever, yeah, of course you know that. But I'm going out in April. So, I'll be doing, when school's out for 9 days in April for April vacation, I'll be going out in the mountains by myself and doing it. And, last time I went to this particular area, I brought a friend that was a fellow co-worker of mine, and he always wanted to believe in Bigfoot and wanted to see. And he was, I knew I could bring him because he was a very type of, I don't want to say there's any connection, but he was a good man, but he was very religious in ways, so he had a nice disposition about himself that I knew would not scare or keep them, offstandish of coming and hearing. And on the 4th night we were there, he goes to me, and I said, well, 4 nights they haven't come. I said, let's go. And he goes, Chris, did you call my name last night saying John, John, John? And I'm going, no. And he goes, yeah, I kept on hearing this voice in my head. And he was in one tent and I was in the other, and they called my name, John, John, John. I said, you know what, man? Would you mind staying another night? He said, no, I'm ready to stay. And that next night, the 5th night, 3 of them came. And it was in April, nothing, no trees with leaves, nothing. And there they came. 2 with the whitish, bluish eyes and the male with the red eyes. And they came, and they were, the female was climbing up and down the tree. Now, this is 3 miles from my cabin, where I wrote my book and spent my 12 years, but I can't go back to the cabin there because the property doesn't belong to me. It belongs to somebody else now. And but I camp at this spot, and those 3 are the ones that, one of how many, I can't tell you how many that would come from the cabin, but those 3 came to visit us. And for 3 hours, she was just going up and down this tree, man. You could just see her outline with the shadow and the eyes on him. The male just stood staring at us, and the little one would move around once in a while and then get on his belly, and you could see him on his belly with the lights looking at us. And after the 3rd hour, I did a big mistake. I did a long whistle. And I just said this long whistle. And she was up in the tree, and you could see she looks down, and they're looking up at her in the tree. And she came down, and they all left together down the mountain. And I feel like, kicking myself in the ass for doing that, because I used to always hear them whistle around the cabin. They would whistle. And even up there, they would whistle back and forth to each other. And it wasn't until I met Navajo Joe, who came on our show about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I can't remember how many years ago. But anyways, he came on the show and he told me, and I made a big mistake, that his ancestors and so on, when they would go hunting or being out in the wilderness of the mountain, if something scared them or if something made them nervous, they would whistle back and forth to each other, not to move or not go anywhere or to go any farther. And what I did was tell them, don't come any closer and leave. And I did not know that, and I would never have done it. So the place I'm going to in April is the same spot that I took John and where I took the medium, Jeannie. We would go up there, and we've had some great interactions. I have to tell you another time on the show. So this time I'm going to go up there and just be by myself, and I'll stay no less than 5 days, but maybe we'll come even sooner. But that's all predication to the temperature, because when you're at 2,000 feet up here in the northwest corner in Connecticut, it can get cold.
Oh yeah.
So I'm hoping.
I make friends with the guy who actually wears the Jack Link's Bigfoot costume on TikTok. Him and I were talking while he was at Comic-Con. And I'm trying to get him to at least come on the show and talk to us.
I'd like to have that uniform he made or wears. I'd love to go out. I would love to go out in the woods in that thing. I really would, just to mingle with the Bigfoot.
Steve, you would get shot quick.
No, I wouldn't. I'd look at the guy with a shotgun. I'd stick my hands up in the air, and he's like, "What the hell?"
You know what, Chris? It would be our luck. He'd go out in the woods with that thing on. We'd see him strapped over somebody's damn car front end. Good sound. Oh, dear God.
I'll have to learn to take some of that garlic stuff with me. That'll chase them off.
Oh, that garlic stuff he makes could knock the stripes off a skunk. Oh my God. But, has anybody else had any more reports on activities that would show more of their intelligence? The Sasquatch, not the hunters.
I thought you were talking about yourself.
Well, I'm highly intelligent, but go ahead.
To a point.
If you have any intelligence, that'd be the first time.
Hey, wait a minute now. That's not what my college teacher told me.
Yeah, sure it ain't. And you probably bribed her.
Mm-hmm. Gonna tick off all my fans, ain't you?
You're probably praising me right now.
Yeah. Well, when you got the army of all my fans coming at you, I think it's like a group of 30 midgets. I mean, you'll be in trouble. So.
Oh boy.
I gotta ask, this guy that wears the uniform for Jack Link, is that the Daniel Boone type guy? I'm trying to put that beef jerky guy on here.
No, he's actually a bald-headed guy.
Oh.
No wonder the suit fits him perfect.
Hold on, wait a minute. He also does he's also Jason and Mike Myers.
Oh shit.
Really? Mm-hmm.
That's some movie I could never watch. That movie gives me the creeps.
Giant gets scared. He's got to hold his. He's got to, when he watches it, he has to have his stuffed Sasquatch in his arms.
No, you figure if there's a Mike Myers like that out there, look at all the weird stuff that's actually going on in our world today. We got some really weird people out here.
You know the mask of Michael Myers. This is true. The mask of Michael Myers. It's. I'm sorry. Repeat that.
It's the inside-out mask of Captain Kirk.
That's correct. Bing, 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 bing. You win.
If Captain Kirk looks that bad, I'm going to stay away from Star Trek.
Well, I actually asked him. I asked him that question. I said, I heard that it's true. Tell me if it's true or not. Is the mask originally a Captain Kirk mask inside out? He goes, yes, it is.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He said it took him like 8 hours. It took him 8 hours to put on that damn costume of the Sasquatch for Jack Link's.
Huh.
And he did let something slip. He said that there is another Jack Link's commercial coming out soon.
Uh-oh.
My favorite commercial is when he goes into the men's room. The Sasquatch goes in, and he pees into the urinal, and he smashes the urinal into pieces. The urinal breaks up.
I never saw that one.
I got it somewhere. I videoed it on my phone from the TV. I couldn't stop laughing. I have it. I got to send it to you. Yes. Yes.
My favorite is where I guess he was sleeping, and these campers decided they're going to mess with him. They put his hand in water, and they were hiding by the RV, thinking they would be safe. They went inside the RV to get away from him, and he threw a rock with a snake attached to it a log through the back window.
Actually, the one I saw is where he's laying on the ground asleep. They take a thing of hot water, they put it out next to him, they put his hand in the hot water, and just before they can leave, he pisses on one of them.
That's creative.
I said, I'm sitting back like saying, that's what you get for putting his hand in the water.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, yes, we would do that to our friends. We would stick their hands in the warm water. Yes.
He said that when he...
Does that actually work?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, shit.
When I asked him, I said, what did you have to do to get the mannerisms of the Sasquatch? He said, well, we watched a lot of gorillas. Went to the zoo and watched a lot of gorillas, watched how they were primal.
Yeah, we know why you were in there watching the gorillas for, asking that question, Snake Man. You just want to be able to, mingle with whatever.
You know what? No, sorry, not that way. Sorry.
Too much hair.
Too much hair.
Oh.
Too much information.
So, where do I mail the snakes to?
Anthony.
Yes, sir. Anthony ain't done nothing to me yet.
No, Anthony didn't give you his. Oh, sweet Jesus.
Anthony, you see how mean they are to me?
No.
No, not really.
What was that, Anthony?
I'm sure it's well deserved.
Oh, hell no. Oh, and here I was just talking nice about you. What the heck?
We can't help it. You're comedy relief.
Okay, Steve. Hey, Steve. Be looking for a big package in the mail.
Yeah.
George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree.
If that doesn't get Mary Catherine to come on the radio.
Oh, wow. Uh-huh. I see how y'all are.
Well, I hate to say it, ladies and gentlemen, but it's that time again.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Gentle Giant, and this is the Bigfoot Radio for this week. And we would like you all tune in next week for some more Bigfoot Radio. And all of us on the Bigfoot Radio Network, we would also like to thank our guests for joining in on the discussion tonight on this talk show. And we would also like to thank you, our listeners, for sharing our adventures with us. Join us again next Friday evening for another exciting hour of Bigfoot Radio with the Bigfoot research teams from across the country. And we would also especially like to thank our listeners. Until then, this is the Gentle Giant saying good night, be good, be safe, and we will see you here again next week. Until then, keep Bigfoot live and keep Bigfooting. See you all again next week. Bye-bye, and have a nice night.
Good night, Sue Ellen.
Good night, Cowboy.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Grandpa.
Good night, Grandma.
Which one?
This session is no longer being recorded.
Okay, now you can speak all the shit you want. Just make sure it doesn't fly and hit either one of us in the face.
I'm waiting to see what my listeners from Canada say.
Oh, Snake Man, you're a real comic. Oh.
You know,
Oh,
Chief, are we off the air? Because this could still be on like you said before. Are we off? Now we are.
Yeah,
Hey,
we're off the air.